and minerals and salts all mixed into a complete feed. The problem with the processed feeds and with the hay is that there's a point of diminishing returns. The more animals that you take in, the more feed that you have to pack in. And pretty soon you get to the point to where you have more animals than you can possibly pack in feed. So whenever possible, you need to be able to utilize feed in the area that is graze. In any case, you need to check with the agency, whether it's BLM, State Department of Lands, U.S. Forest Service, or Park Service, to find out what regulations, if any, there are on what kinds of feed that you need to pack in or can pack in, or whether or not grazing is allowed. That should dictate to you what kinds of these feeds that you bring in. If you're feeding straight hay, you have to feed an average of 20 pounds of dry feed per animal per day. Pellets, straight pellets, average feed is 18 pounds for a complete ration, nothing but pellets, 18 pounds per animal per day. You can reduce that in half by adding a supplement such as this three-way or straight oats, rolled oats specifically, to that. That feed, that ration should be broken up into 2 feedings, morning and night. Almost as important as the kind of feed that you feed, it's also how you feed them. Feeding on the ground just exacerbates the problem of interjecting noxious weeds and or undesirable plants such as timothy seed into an area if you just feed on the ground. By feeding using nose bags such as these scrim bags or this canvas cavalry designed bag, you can help eliminate that problem and also reduce waste. The advantage that these scrim bags have over the old canvas bags is that it's possible, if an animal gets loose with either this kind of a nose bag or this kind of a nose bag, if it's made out of canvas, for them to try to take a drink and drown. These bags will allow air to get through, dust to filter out, and eliminate problems of that animal getting loose and trying to drink and drowning. He can do that, but at the same time, it eliminates the kind of waste that you'll get with possibly a canvas bag or feeding on the ground.
Bringing the right equipment on your trip makes your experience easier and more enjoyable. Don't forget those little things that rarely get used but are important in good packing, like the first aid kit for both you and your stock. Bring along items like a tack repair kit. And try to pack less bulky, lightweight camping gear.
Trip preparation involves, besides conditioning your animals, it also involves making sure that your saddles and your tack are in good condition, well maintained, and ready to go on a trip. From making sure that your leather is oiled or waxed with a preservative on it, not saturated with neatsfoot oil, but just clean and lightly wiped down, or by using a product such as saddle butter to clean and preserve your leather, liquid glycerin and the like. It involves checking over your swing ropes if you're packing with a Decker Pack saddle, and making sure that your ropes are in good condition and not frayed and liable to break. That your cinches are clean, whether you're using a cinch cover such as this one or not. Making sure that the hardware is in good repair and you don't have any snaps that are ready to break. Your riding saddle also needs to be well maintained, especially here on the bearing surface. If it's allowed to dry out and nails begin to poke through, like we see in a rivet or a staple is starting to wear through the sheepskin here, this needs to be peened back down so that it doesn't cause a sore. if the wool lining is getting worn to the point to where you no longer have any cushioning, then the saddle needs to be relined. When leather gets wet and then subsequently dries out, it loses its vitality. After rain, use in the rain, and after snow and the like, it needs to have a product such as liquid glycerin or saddle soap applied to it to put the vitality and life back into it. If you use neat's foot oil, you should only use 100% pure neat's foot oil. And cinches need to be kept clean. Saddle strings, which traditionally hold a riding saddle together, they need to be well maintained, well oiled, and always checked for undue wear and weakening prior to a trip, so that you don't have a saddle string break in the middle of a trip. First aid kits that you take with you can vary in size and complexity, from saddlebag type or saddle horn type to multiple person, a multiple animal. The most important thing you need to bear in mind and remember about first aid kits is that you need to know how to use them, and it's not a bad idea to buy or put together a kit in conjunction with advice from your family doctor and your family veterinarian. And you also need to keep and have readily accessible a shoeing kit that runs from being able to nail a shoe back on instead of an easy boot. There are two basic reasons why stock people take used horses. It's not only companionship, but it also allows us to travel further, stay longer, a little more comfort than those of us who carry our loads on our back. But at the same time, we need to take into consideration when we're choosing equipment to take with us and to live in, the kinds of equipment that we're going to have, the weight, and also take into consideration some safety factors. This tent is an example of what's available with modern lightweight fabrics. This tent is made out of a fabric called Real Light. It weighs 18 pounds, complete with frame. It's 12 feet 6 inches square, and it's also a multiple season tent. This tent is suitable for use in the summertime, and it's also suitable for use in fall as a two-person hunting camp primarily. It'll take a stove, yet it can't burn like canvas can. Canvas, when it's dry, will just go up in seconds, a little bit slower if it's been treated with fire retardant. This material absolutely will not burn. You can melt it with a blowtorch, but you cannot burn it. And as I mentioned before, it's considerably lighter, 18 pounds total package weight with the frame. An intrinsic advantage of it, however, is the fact that you have a frame with it. You do not have to cut any tent stakes. You do not have to cut any tent poles. That's lessening your impact on the ground in that alone. Additionally, because it weighs considerably less than a canvas tent, that frees up some weight of your animals for packing something else. Feed, or this combined with other weight-saving measures may eliminate one extra animal that you would take normally, especially when you combine it with the kinds of equipment that we've got inside this tent. Savings in weight and bulk aren't confined only to tents. All kinds of camping equipment are available in terms of savings in weight and bulkiness, such as stools and camp chairs, cots, tables that roll up and weigh considerably less, stoves for cold weather use that do not have to weigh 90 pounds, such as the old plate metal stoves that we used to have to pack, that will not warp and are also airtight and will hold the fire for a considerable period of time. Water jackets and warming ovens and shelves, lightweight stainless steel cook gear. The list goes on, and you as a knowledgeable buyer and someone who is concerned about the kind of impact that you're going to make with your pack string needs to be aware of and search out